Here's why Rhaenys Velaryon felt betrayed by Rhaenyra at the Council of Black Harrenhal. Imagine standing in a grand hall, the air thick with tension, power, and ambition, only to realize that someone you trusted, someone you considered family, is undermining you in the most public, most humiliating way. That was the moment Rhaenys Velaryon, the queen who never was, felt the sharp sting of betrayal at the Council of Black Harrenhal. Today, we're delving deep into the reasons why Rhaenys felt this profound sense of betrayal, how political ambition and personal loyalty collided, and why this moment reshaped the course of Targaryen history forever. The Council of Black Harrenhal wasn't just a gathering of lords and ladies, it was a political battlefield. It was a place where alliances were forged, rivalries festered, and the fate of the realm hung in the balance. For Rhaenys Velaryon, a woman renowned for her wisdom, her dignity, and her unmatched skill as a dragon rider, the council should have been a place to advocate for reason, for strategy, and for the survival of House Velaryon and the Targaryens as a whole. Yet, it became the stage for what she perceived as a profound betrayal by Rhaenyra Targaryen. To understand Rhaenys' feelings, we need to understand her perspective. Rhaenys is not just a dragon rider, she is a strategist, a diplomat, and a fiercely loyal member of the Targaryen family. Her counsel has been sought in times of crisis, her voice has been respected in councils, and her loyalty to the crown has been unwavering. She fought for the stability of the realm, and she trusted Rhaenyra to act not just with ambition, but with wisdom and honor. Yet Rhaenyra's actions at Black Harrenhal challenged all of that. At the council, Rhaenyra made choices that favored her personal claim to the Iron Throne over the council, the loyalty, and even the safety of those who stood with her. Rhaenys, who had dedicated her life to the realm and to the Targaryen legacy, watched as the young princess prioritized ambition over trust, and power over principle. For Rhaenys, this was not a mere political maneuver, it was betrayal. The roots of this betrayal lie in the tension between ambition and loyalty. Rhaenyra, as the chosen heir of King Viserys, had the strongest claim to the throne by blood, but her path was far from secure. Westeros had long been a realm where male preference dominated succession, and Rhaenyra's claim was constantly challenged. At the Council of Black Harrenhal, she faced not only her rivals but also the complex expectations of her supporters, including Rhaenys. Every decision was scrutinized, every word weighed against centuries of tradition and the precariousness of her position. Rhaenys, with her experience, her intelligence, and her understanding of politics, advocated for strategies that prioritized the survival of their houses and the realm. She was not naive, she knew the dangers of war, the volatility of the lords, and the fragility of alliances. Her advice was measured, her proposals thoughtful, and her loyalty evident. Yet Rhaenyra chose to act differently. She rejected counsel in favor of bold, audacious moves designed to assert her dominance. In doing so, she undermined Rhaenys' expertise and, in the eyes of the Velaryon queen, dismissed her loyalty. The Council of Black Harrenhal was also a test of trust. By convening the council, Rhaenyra expected support, guidance, and solidarity from her most trusted allies. Rhaenys, as a senior Targaryen, a dragon rider, and a respected voice, provided that support, through counsel, through strategy, and through presence. When Rhaenyra acted contrary to that counsel, it was more than political disagreement, it was a breach of trust. Betrayal, in this context, was personal. It struck at the core of Rhaenys' belief in family, loyalty, and shared purpose. But why did Rhaenyra act this way? To understand, we must consider her position. Rhaenyra was young, ambitious, and under immense pressure. She faced internal and external threats to her claim, rival factions within her family, and the constant scrutiny of the realm. Her choices were driven by a desire to assert authority, consolidate power, and ensure her succession. From her perspective, bold action was necessary. Yet, in choosing her path over the council of trusted allies, she created a chasm between intention and perception. To Rhaenys, the bold moves were reckless, dismissive, and deeply personal. The emotional dimension of this betrayal cannot be overstated. Rhaenys is a woman of principle, guided by loyalty and a sense of duty. Her dedication to the Targaryen legacy is absolute. To see Rhaenyra, whom she trusted as both family and sovereign, reject her counsel was a wound to her identity. It was a moment where personal loyalty collided with political ambition, and where the expectations of trust were violently disrupted. The sting of betrayal was amplified by the fact that Rhaenys had invested so much, emotionally, politically, and personally, in supporting Rhaenyra's claim. We also need to consider the strategic dimension. Rhaenys was not merely offering personal advice, she was providing insights honed through years of experience, understanding of the realm, and knowledge of the volatile political landscape. By rejecting this advice, Rhaenyra exposed herself and her supporters to unnecessary risk. To Rhaenys, this was not just a disagreement, it was a decision that could endanger lives, destabilize alliances, and threaten the very Targaryen legacy they both sought to preserve. Betrayal, then, was inseparable from consequence. Rhaenys' sense of betrayal was further compounded by her personal relationship with Rhaenyra. The two women were not only allies, they were family. They shared a bond forged through blood, loyalty, and shared ambition. To feel dismissed or undermined by someone you love and respect is profoundly painful. In a world where trust is rare and loyalty is constantly tested, the perception of betrayal carries immense weight. For Rhaenys, Rhaenyra's refusal to heed her counsel was a betrayal of both political alliance and personal bond. The council itself amplified the betrayal. Black Harrenhal was a formal setting, where decisions were made publicly and reputations were on display. Rhaenys' advice was not merely ignored, it was overridden in front of the assembled lords and ladies. This public dismissal magnified the sense of personal and political betrayal. In Westeros, where honor and perception are paramount, to be undermined publicly is to suffer both personal indignity and strategic disadvantage. Rhaenys' anger and disappointment were as much about the breach of etiquette and protocol as they were about the political decision itself. Let's examine the political stakes further. The civil war that would become known as the Dance of the Dragons was defined by high-risk decisions, shifting alliances, and the constant threat of betrayal. Every council, every strategy session, and every public appearance had profound implications. Rhaenys' counsel was grounded in a desire to minimize risk, protect key allies, and preserve resources. Rhaenyra's choice to prioritize assertive action over measured strategy was, in Rhaenys' eyes, reckless and self-serving. It was a betrayal not just of her trust, but of the very principles of prudent governance. Moreover, Rhaenys' sense of betrayal was tied to her understanding of history. She knew the Targaryens' legacy, the consequences of missteps, and the fragility of their rule. Rhaenyra's refusal to attack prudently was, to her, a rejection of historical wisdom. It suggested that ambition outweighed prudence, and that personal desire outweighed the well-being of the realm. Betrayal, then, was intellectual as well as emotional, a clash of values and priorities. The tension between ambition and loyalty is central to understanding this moment. Rhaenyra's ambition drove her to assert her claim with confidence, even if it meant ignoring advice. Rhaenys' loyalty demanded caution, deliberation, and respect for the accumulated wisdom of her advisors. When ambition overrides loyalty, betrayal is perceived. Rhaenys' disappointment reflects the collision of these forces,